All right, ladies and gentlemen, I just very quickly at this moment want to give you a sense of the vaccination drive in the country, because our top story is related to the vaccines itself. Now, just take a look at the numbers that we are putting out for you at this moment. So far in India, 26.63 crore doses have been administered. In the last 24 hours, 18.85 lakh vaccines have been administered. This is much lower than the required number of about 80 lakh vaccines which are required every single day to be administered if India wants to reach the target of vaccinating all the people above the age of 18 years old by December 2021. But the other key state, and I want to take you to Maharashtra because it was in the midst of the pandemic, and just take a look at the vaccination drive numbers, doses numbers, and there is a significance attached to it. I will come to it in just a short while from now. 2.7 crore doses have been administered in Maharashtra. 1.25 lakh doses have been administered in the last 24 hours. As the demand for the vaccines all across the country is growing up, there is clamor that people need to be vaccinated as soon as possible. After India today exposed a mega vaccine scam in the maximum city, now the Mumbai Police has been forced to crack the whip on the virus vultures. 4 people have been arrested and the investigation is still on to identify how these accused pulled off such an elaborate ruse, particularly the source of these supposed fake vaccines. Believe it or not, in Maharashtra, in Mumbai, there have been, in fact, those who have been pretending to give people vaccine. These are fake, allegedly fake vaccines, and now the Maharashtra police is investigating the matter. Take a look.
This is impact of India Today's journalism. On June the 16th, India Today got you a report on how 390 residents of an upscale residential society in Mumbai were victims of a vaccine scam.
I want to know कि authenticity कितना था vaccination में, because we 300 people have taken this vaccine, maybe more than that, 390 people have taken the vaccine.
A day later, we told you how a film production house was also allegedly duped by the same firm and given apparently fake vaccines. After India Today blew the lid off this scary vaccine racket in Mumbai, the police has been forced to crack the whip. Acting on India Today's report, the police have arrested 4 persons and detained 1 person for duping over 500 citizens in Mumbai.
हमने उसमें जो 4 लोग जिस आदमी ने एक्चुअली वैक्सीनेशन कैंप लिया और कैंप लेने के लिए जिसने मदद किया, और जो फोर्ज सर्टिफिकेट जो जनरेट हुआ वो फीड करने वाले 2 लोग, ऐसे 4 लोगों को अभी तक हमने हिरासत में लिया, उनको अरेस्ट किया गया है.
Here's how this gang apparently operated. The scamsters approached societies with offers of organizing a vaccination drive. They would claim they have tie-ups with some of the biggest hospitals in Mumbai, but they had no such association. So during the vaccination drive, they were careful. No banners or logos of the hospitals would be used. Nobody was allowed to take pictures or videos of the actual drive, and the scamsters would walk away with all the money, charging up to 1,200 rupees per dose from residents. This disturbing scam was possible because the accused had access to hospital databases and used it to scam so many people.
पुलिस ने जब एफआईआर किया, एफआईआर करके कुछ लोगों को अरेस्ट किया, तब सामने ये बातें आ रही हैं कि जो लोग किसी प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल्स के अंदर काम करते थे, उन्होंने डेटा चुरा के जो है वो सर्टिफिकेट देने का काम किया.
So far, several victims have been identified. An upscale residential society in which 390 people were duped, a film production house where 150 employees were part of the vaccination drive, and Ramesh Taurani's Tips Industries, where over 350 were supposedly inoculated. This vaccine racket has also led to a political showdown, with the opposition taking on the Maharashtra government.
आपराधिक मामलों में लिप्त महाराष्ट्र सरकार को इन फर्जी लोगों की गिरफ्तारी करने के लिए 4 दिन लगते हैं. क्या कारण है 4 दिन लगने का?
After arresting 4 people in this vaccination scam, the police has to find out how these vaccines were procured and what was in those vials which was injected to so many residents in Mumbai. With camera person Mangesh Ambre, Mustafa Sheikh in Mumbai for India Today.
Mustafa Sheikh is joining me with more details on this story. Mustafa, a big India Today impact. We have been reporting on this story first before any other channel got even the whiff of this. Just want to understand from you, is the government now looking at a bigger conspiracy angle? Vultures, those who are making money, not only with these 300, 400 people, but also in other places. If it is happening in Mumbai, imagine what people could do in other places of in the state of Maharashtra.
Yes, of course, Ankit. What we can say is that this is just the tip of the iceberg, because there was a person who's absconding. He had planned this entire conspiracy, and being from medical professions, it was easy access for them to get the vaccinations, to get people who can get them certificates. IDs of COVID app of private hospitals have been stolen to generate these forged certificates in the name of residents who have taken these vaccines. So it's an organized racket which has come forward, and it has also shocked the beneficiaries, because first there was vaccine hesitancy, then people took efforts to get vaccines in their housing societies and get them, but they seem that now they have been cheated. It is also acting as a demotivating factor to others and raising doubts among other people who are organizing such camps and going out for vaccination. Third important point is that the main culprit who organized this entire conspiracy is yet to be nabbed by Mumbai Police. And fourth, what was inside those vials which was injected to these beneficiaries, saying that it's the vaccine, because none of them, in spite of taking a Covishield vaccine, got any symptoms, which clearly goes to show that there was some forgery and cheating done, and it's a big interstate racket which is operating, and we don't know the exact number of how many people they've cheated in the entire country. Back to you.
Thank you, Mustafa, for joining us with all those details. Two important things. What was being given to these people? Has it had any, possible side effect, impact later on them? And how long are the tentacles of this entire fake network, in fact, spread across Maharashtra and possibly across the country? This, ladies and gentlemen, is a story that we are going to keep a very close eye on. I just want to stay with Maharashtra because there is a lot of talk about a third wave. The task force in Maharashtra, the COVID task force in Maharashtra, has now warned that the third wave of COVID-19 could hit the state as early as 2 to 4 weeks. One of the reasons given is the overcrowding that Mumbai has seen in the past few days. The task force has also said the total number of cases can reach up to 8 to 10 lakh, in fact, and 10% of them could be children. Now, the task force alerted the Chief Minister that the Delta variant of coronavirus could stoke a third wave in Maharashtra.
Crowded markets, packed restaurants, busy roadside eatery joints. India's financial capital has not unlocked fully, but it seems to have put the painful memories of the second wave of COVID behind. Mumbaikars have let down their guard. Experts warn this reckless behavior is an invitation to the third wave.
कोरोना का नया जीनोम, नया म्यूटेशन डेल्टा 2 वायरस इंडिया में आ चुका है. इस वजह से जो संभावना थर्ड वेव की जताई जा रही है वो भयंकर हो सकती है, और इसके लिए आम जनता को एप्रोप्रिएट कोविड बिहेवियर का इस्तेमाल करना बहुत जरूरी है.
In Maharashtra, the COVID task force has warned the state government that there could be a third wave in 2 to 4 weeks if we are not careful. The task force, in a presentation to CM Uddhav Thackeray, said in the third wave, the number of active patients could reach up to 8 lakh, and 10% out of them could be children. Chief Minister Thackeray has put the health agencies on alert. The administration has been told to be ready with necessary facilities in the event of a new wave.
अगर लोगों ने अब समझना चाहिए कि सामने ये परिस्थितियां हैं, काम हो तभी निकले, या तो वैक्सीनेशन का शॉट जब तक का पूरा नहीं होता है तब तक निकलना नहीं चाहिए. इसमें फिर एक बार जो है सरकार को लोगों को साथ देना होगा.
The threat is not limited to Mumbai. More cities across the country have reopened. Similar scenes are playing out in Delhi, for instance. The Delhi government too is preparing for a possible new wave.
तीसरी वेव आने के चांसेस काफी रियल हैं। जब तीसरी वेव आएगी तो हम ये नहीं कह सकते कि हम बीच में हमने कुछ नहीं किया। आपकी सरकार इस वक्त युद्ध स्तर के ऊपर काम कर रही है।
This is the state of the marketplace even when there isn't 100% unlock. Imagine the state when there are no restrictions at all. As the COVID cases are coming down, citizens are demanding more relaxations. Industries are demanding more space to function. But yes, as the cases are coming down and the citizens take to the streets, they are forgetting that the danger is far from over.
With Pankaj Upadhyay in Mumbai, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, breaking news coming in. Government sources have told India Today that Zydus Cadila will be applying for emergency use authorization for Zycov-D vaccine in the next 7 to 10 days. It is the world's first DNA vaccine. It is a very unique vaccine. The trials for Zydus Cadila's Zycov-D are complete and is likely to be a 3-dose vaccine. So overall, once this approval is given, this will be the 4th vaccine available to Indians. 3 are already there. Let's just listen into what Mr. V.K. Paul, member of the planning of the Niti Aayog, has told India Today.
जो वैक्सीन है सर, उन्होंने अप्लाई किया क्या?
अभी नहीं किया. We are hoping that they will apply in very near future because most of their study is complete. I believe they have enrolled more than 28,000 volunteers in the study phase 3. All 3 doses have been given to all, and we are expecting that they will submit their results very, very soon.
Going across now to my colleague Milan Sharma, who is joining us with more details on this. Milan, this is going to give a big boost. Already India is struggling to procure vaccines to ramp up the vaccination effort. 7 to 10 days. How long? I mean, exactly, if you can just put a window for us, and also the uniqueness of this vaccine.
Well, Ankit, it's going to be the 3rd vaccine in India that will look at an emergency use authorization after Serum Institute's Covishield and Bharat Biotech's Covaxin. Although we also have Sputnik, that's the Russian vaccine that's come to India. So 4 vaccines. Now, Zycov-D is going to be a DNA-based vaccine, which is the world's first technology on DNA in the vaccines for coronavirus. It's being completely made in India. It's an indigenously made vaccine here. And certainly we will have more vaccines in our drive to fight against COVID-19. Remember, the government sources have told us that within the next 7 to 10 days, Zydus Cadila will submit an application to the subject expert committee looking for an emergency use authorization. They already have a few doses ready, and the doses would be ready for rollout as soon as the emergency authorization will come through. So the 4th vaccine available to Indians is going to be a huge deal, because after the 21st of June, the central government has said they will procure the vaccines for the states as well that share. And that is going to be very important for the inoculation drive in India before the 3rd wave.
We are looking at a window of first week of next month when this possibly would be available for, in fact, rollout, for procurement and for vaccination as far as people are concerned. Thank you so much, Milan, for joining us with all those details. Staying with the COVID focus that we have here on 6 p.m. Prime this evening, ladies and gentlemen, just 5 days after the national capital unlocked after a month-long lockdown, thousands of Covidiots thronged to markets. I mean, it just... How many times will people, government, and even people like me would be giving reminders? Don't think that the danger is over. No social distancing is being practiced. Practically, the 3rd wave. This is an invitation to the 3rd wave of coronavirus. Delhi High Court took suo motu cognizance of the matter and has asked the government to ensure COVID-appropriate behavior is followed, or else we are all doomed.
A city devastated by the second COVID wave. And this is what it looks like now. Crowded markets and malls, zero distance and mask protocol. Memories of the horrors have all evaporated. And the Covidiots of the capital appear to be issuing an open invitation to that dreaded third wave. As we have seen so often recently, the courts have had to step in. The Delhi High Court on Friday took unilateral cognizance of these disturbing images and has issued notices to the centre and Delhi governments asking them to explain why this is being allowed.
In a lot of places, people are forgetting the COVID protocols, because of which Delhi High Court judges have come down heavily, and they have said measures need to be put in place which need to be followed. Otherwise, we could see a definite third wave.
The High Court asked the centre and Delhi government to take strict measures, sensitize shopkeepers and hold meetings with markets and vendors associations in this regard. Television screens and social media have been flooded in the recent weeks with images of rampant crowding in markets across the national capital. From Delhi's Sadar Bazaar to Sarojini Nagar market to the upscale Khan market, Delhi citizens have exploded out onto the streets.
While crowds surge, shopkeepers say they are following all protocols.
Moreover, the people who come here, they are more educated, I would say, and more cautious about, COVID-appropriate behavior. So in Khan market, such problem is not being seen.
In first wave, I used to avoid sometimes. Sometimes I pull it down and all. But I think so now it's got a habit now. If I don't wear the mask, I feel something is missing in me. But this becomes now a part and parcel of our lifestyle only.
The irony of these images is that Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal said as many as 5,000 youth are being trained to work as assistants to doctors and nurses to mitigate possible shortages of medical staff during the third COVID-19 wave.
सरकार ने एक बहुत बड़ा एम्बिशियस प्लान बनाया है। 5,000 हेल्थ असिस्टेंट्स तैयार करने का। इनको टेक्निकल भाषा में कम्युनिटी नर्सिंग असिस्टेंट्स कहते हैं।
The decision comes after the Delhi government has already set up 2 committees to manage the third wave and mitigate its impact. But the unstoppable crowds in the capital won't stop tempting fate. Forgetting protocols is bad enough, but how could they forget the misery, the agony, the suffering that ravaged Delhi just weeks ago? With Aishwarya Paliwal in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
It was one of the most difficult times the capital has seen. I was out reporting heartbreaking images. Please, please do your part to make sure we are not there again. Now, just moving on and just telling you about, this is also COVID fatigue possibly which is setting in. Hundreds of tourists have thronged to Himachal Pradesh after the government relaxed the norms. Shimla, Manali has been witnessing a huge tourist rush after the state government eased COVID-19 restrictions last week. Nearly 10,000 people applied for COVID-19 e-passes during the last week. Take a look at this story.
Delhiites are breaking free. And it's the highway to Himachal Pradesh they're taking after weeks of being cooped up in their homes because of the lockdown. Himachal Pradesh is welcoming them. Starved of tourist revenue in summer, Himachal is allowing tourists in without an RT-PCR test certificate. All that tourists have to do is register themselves on the state's COVID portal and get a COVID e-pass. Shimla and Manali are the favorite destinations. More than 3,000 tourists arrived in Manali last week. 5,000 checked into Shimla.
बाहर निकलने का काफ़ी मन हो रहा था तो इसीलिए जैसे ही लॉकडाउन खुला तो बाहर आ गए घूमने के लिए घर पे बोर फील कर रहे थे और सारा जो था हमारा जो दिनचर्या वो एकदम से रुक सी गई थी
लोग पूरा सर कहीं भी निकल रहे हैं मास्क पहन के निकल रहे हैं सबकी जेब में आपको इंडिविजुअल सैनिटाइजर मिलेगा जहाँ जहाँ हमारे को मौका मिल रहा है वहाँ हम लोग हैंड वॉश भी कर रहे हैं
हमने पहले प्लानिंग तो कर रखी थी लेकिन यहाँ पे ई पास और कोविड RT-PCR कोरोना बहुत ज़्यादा था तो सोच रहे थे कि बाहर आएंगे क्या पता कोरोना हो जाए कुछ हो जाए फिर एकदम से मन हुआ जैसे हिमाचल खुला तो हम सीधा मनाली आ गए।
But it's still not like any other summer in normal times in Himachal. The occupancy in hotels is around 30 to 40%. Hotel owners feel the COVID e-pass requirement could be the reason for a lower footfall.
ई-पास बनाने में और ऑनलाइन जाने में काफ़ी दिक्कत हो रही है गेस्टों को। वो होटल वालों को रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं। होटल वाले जब एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के पास करते हैं तो उनके पास काफ़ी लाइन लगी रहती है। गेस्ट काफ़ी हरास हो जाते हैं इसमें। तो इसमें अगर थोड़ा सा इजी वे कर दें इसको तो काफ़ी फ़र्क पड़ेगा आने वाले टाइम पे।
Nearly 10,000 people had applied for COVID passes to enter Himachal, but only 3,000 were issued.
जो इंटरस्टेट मूवमेंट के लिए कुछ जो रिस्ट्रिक्शन लगी थी उसमें रिलैक्सेशंस दी हैं। रजिस्ट्रेशन का प्रोसेस अभी भी कायम है, लेकिन जो RT-PCR टेस्ट जो है वही उसको ही हमने रिलैक्स किया है।
Although it has eased norms, the Himachal government is not lifting its guard entirely, particularly with a third wave lurking in the near future. It's quite obvious that the tourism industry, which contributes to over 7% of the state's GDP and employs thousands, will have to wait before full normalcy returns. Bureau Report, India Today.